Hi grade 8 students! Good day and congratulations dahil natapos niyo na po ang first quarter which is about cookery. For the second quarter, we're going to open another course na makakatulong sa inyo at magagamit niyo po yung inyong matututunan sa inyong pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. At this moment, I'm formally welcoming you, my grade 8 students, on our second grading period. And this quarter, ang ating course na magiging focus is about handicraft production. And we're gonna produce different crafts na pwede nyo pong maging hobby or pwede din naman pong maging source of income. For lesson 1, we're gonna focus on producing embroidered article. Possibly, nung kayo po ay nasa lower years or lower grades, ay nakapag-try na kayong manahi or nananahi po kayo. So ngayon, atin lang i-recall and at the same time, you're going to produce your own embroidered article. To start this lesson, so let's go back. Balikan natin ang history of embroidery. Saan ba siya nagmula? Before we trace the history and development of embroidery, so start muna tayong i-define what is embroidery. And embroidery is defined as the ornamentation of textiles and other materials with needlework. Ito ay pagpapaganda ng tela o ng other materials sa pamamagitan or sa paggamit ng karayom. And yun pong pagpapagandang yun ng textiles is for personal use, pwedeng sa ating mga personal na handkerchief or panyo, or pwede din naman po as decoration. Hindi lang sa bahay, not only for homes, but also for offices. So as you can see, meron po sa mga tablecloths, sa ating mga pillowcases, sa ating curtains, meron dyang embroidery. So dyan po sa lugar kung nasan kayo, please take a look. Pakitingnan nyo, what are the different things in your area, near your study area, na meron pong application ng embroidery. So tingnan, paano siya nakatulong? Naging maganda ba yung effect ng embroidery in that certain item? So please take a look. Moving on, so embroidery, it is an English word wherein it is derived from Old French embroiders, meaning edge and border. Kasi before, embroidery is done para po hindi mangalas yung mga tela. So, yun pong term na embroidery na ginagamit natin today is mula sa French term na embroiders. So, please remember that term. Now, on the screen, so makikita nyo po, meron dyang 5 different events. Ang inyo pong gagawin is to try to arrange the following events related to the history and development of embroidery. So you need to send a screenshot of this slide along with your answer via Messenger as a PM. So please send the answer via Messenger to me as a PM. So please take your time to answer. So you can pause this video para makapag-isip po kayo. Okay, so now let us reveal and check if your answers were correct. The first event that takes place is letter B. Okay, embroidery was introduced into the Orient by the Netherlanders in the 15th century. So meaning, as early as 15th century, meron na tayong embroidery. At inintroduce po yan sa atin ng Netherlanders. And after that, it is followed by, next is letter A. So it was brought by the Spaniards, or the embroidery was brought by the Spaniards into the Philippines when they colonized us. And nagkaroon po ng wonderful growth since Filipinos are naturally creative. And during the time, best works was done in the Switzerland. But tayo naman po, as of now, so we could consider po that Philippines is one of those countries na nagpo-produce ng mga good and quality embroidery articles. Next is letter E. So embroidery reached its highest development during the Middle Ages. And during the time, nagkaroon po ng different techniques, naging mas malawak pa yung mga ideas na ini-incorporate sa embroidery. And during the time, so the nuns or yung mga madre in the convents, so they make articles with embroidery work during their leisure time. So pag wala silang ginagawa, sila po ay nananahi. And mula noon, so naging popular na po ang embroidery among women. Kasi nag-i-enjoy silang gawin yon. But, meron na din po as of now, as of today nga, na mga men or mga lalaki po that are engaged into embroidery works or embroidery. Next letter is D. So in the beginning, embroiders were done by hand. Yes, so yung mga nuns na nagkikreate ng embroidery article, so kamay lang ang kanilang ginagamit with the use po of the different tools and materials. But since the advent of technology and the invention of sewing machine, people are now engaged in the machine embroidery. So nagkaroon po ng development, hindi lang po gadgets ang nag-create, pero meron na din tayo mga sewing machine na sila po yung operated using electricity na mas nakakapagpadali at mas maganda yung mga quality of works na kanilang pinoproduce. So just like this. Okay, as you can see on the slide, we have there an intricate design. So kung ang gagamitin lang po natin is our bare hands with the use of hand tools, matagal po ang process and hindi din natin may ensure yung quality. But with the invention of the machines, as mentioned kanina, or sewing machines, so nagkakaroon po ng advantages in terms of work. So fast po, mas maging madali ang pag-produce, mas maganda ang quality, and lesser po ang ating manpower. Then it is followed by letter C. So today, because of the fast growth of the industry or the embroidery, so elegance of designs and fineness of workmanship, so Filipinos export articles with embroidery work. So dahil po merong iba't ibang development, nagkaroon ng evolution, and Filipinos tayo ay sumasabay dyan, so ngayon we are one of those who export articles with embroidery work. So tayo po ay nagde-design or yung mga Filipinos ng embroidery works, nagpo-produce, and pinapadala siya sa ibang bansa. Doon natin makikita na talagang creative ang mga Pilipinos. Quality ang kanilang outputs. Now, presented on our slide is the different examples of embroidery works. So, maaari po siyang complex ang design. Meron din naman po tayong ganitong klase ng design. So, it depends upon the different machines na ginamit, or pwede din naman po using our bare hands, just like on the next sample. Okay, this set of different embroidery works, so maaari po siyang gawin through our hands lamang or without the aid of the different machines na ginagamit sa pananahi. And this kind of works, so you're gonna try doing this on your performance task. And magagawa nyo lang po if you're going to use appropriate tools and materials. Now that we are done discussing the history and development of embroidery, so students, so time nyo na po to reflect. So please answer this question. So is the development of embroidery significant to you? So naging mahalaga ba na nagkaroon ng development of embroidery? So what do you think? So for this part, please send a screenshot of this slide along with your answer via Messenger as a PM. So for me to check kung nanonood ka talaga ng video. So if yes, please send the screenshot of this slide and pakisama pag sinend mo ang iyong answer with this question via Messenger and as a PM. So please don't tell your classmates about this. Hayaan niyo po sila ang magnood ng video at malaman nila ang part na ito. Okay students, so we're going to move on. Now students, we're going to discuss about embroidery work. And embroidery work po na tinutukoy is yung mismong embroidered article na. And that could only be best achieved if correct tools and materials are used. So tatandaan, makakagawa ka lamang ng magandang embroidery article kung gagamit ka ng tamang tools at tamang materials. Let's recall the difference of embroidery tools and embroidery materials as we discuss the different examples. So first, embroidery tools. So those are the small or handy devices or instruments used in sewing. So like needles or scissors. Sila po is handy devices na ginagamit natin in sewing, na hindi sila nauubos. And here are some of them. One of the most important tool that we have in embroidery is embroidery needle. So take note students, huwag kakalimutan yung term na embroidery. Embroidery needle. Kasi po, kapag needle lang, meron tayong iba-ibang klaseng needle. So to be specific, so embroidery needle is used for embroidery. And it is short pieces of steel with fine point at one end and a little opening or eye at the other. Yung eye ng embroidery needle na tinutukoy po is yung part na pinagsusulutan o pinaglalagyan natin ng thread. And we have different kinds of needle used in embroidery. And here are some of them. Before we differentiate these three kinds of needle, so students, please keep in mind na pag yung 13 and 26 na nasa image po natin na sample ng needles, ang 13 po ay mas malaki kaysa sa 26 dahil pagliit ng number sa embroidery needle ay paglaki po ng needle. So pagtaas ng number, pagliit po ng needle. So please keep in mind that idea. So to start, so the first needle is what we called as crewel. Crewel po, ang sizes niya is 1 to 10 and they are sharp-pointed, medium in length with large eyes for easy threading, and they are used for most standard embroidery stitchery. Siya po yung needle na commonly natin ginagamit sa ating household. And next one, yung nasa center, is the chenille. Sizes of chenilles po is 13 to 26. They're also sharp-pointed or matilos ang kanyang dulo, but they are thicker and longer and have a larger eyes. So, mas malaki po yung kanyang eye. And they are the types of needle appropriate for embroidery that is worked with heavier yarns. Pag mas malaki po yung yarns, so ang gagamitin natin is chenille kasi hindi po siya kayang i-accommodate ng crewel. Next po, the third one is the tapestry needle. So, it is from sizes 13 to 26 and they are similar in size with chenille, but the difference lang po is the tip. So, as you can see, the tip po is hindi siya pointed. Chenille and crewel are pointed, matilos ang dulo, but tapestry, so blunt. Or hindi ka masasaktan kahit medyo itusok mo siya ng konti sa iyong skin. And this kind of tapestry needle or needle are used for thread counting embroidery, kagaya po ng cross stitching. So siya ang ginagamit pag magko-cross stitch, the tapestry. Kasi po pag ginamit nyo si crewel and chenille, there's a possibility na kayo ay masaktan while doing the activity. Next, we have here thimbles. And thimbles, they are made from metal or plastic and they are designed to protect the middle finger and push the needle while doing your embroidery work. So they are placed on your fingers para po hindi kayo matusok, and kapag pinupush nyo po yung pinaka needle ay hindi masaktan ang inyong daliri. So make sure to wear timbals if you are new in terms of embroidery para hindi po kayo masaktan. Next embroidery tool that we have is the tape measure, and it is used for measuring more than 1 foot distances or materials. For example, magme-measure ka ng fabric that is 24 inches. Since yan po is more than 1 foot po is 1 ruler. Kung more than po siya ng isang ruler, so kailangan mo nang gumamit ng tape measure kasi po mahihirapan ka na mag-measure. Matagal ang process, mas mahihirapan ka pa. Next tool that we have is needle threader. So there are some instances na kaya nating isulot agad yung pinaka-thread sa needle, pero minsan ay hindi kasi possible na maliit lang yung butas ng needle or medyo malabo ang ating mata or tayo po ay medyo pasmado, medyo nangangatal habang nagte-thread. So ang pwede mo pong magawa or to help you to be at ease in threading, you could use a needle threader. So needle threader is the sample presented below. So, madali po siya. Nagpapacilitate ng easy threading. Number 5 is embroidery hoop. So, it is made of wood, bone, metal, or plastic. So, the purpose of embroidery hoop, yan pong bilog na yan, is to keep the fabric stretched while embroidery stitches are applied on the design. So, iniipit po yung pinakatela kung saan yung part na lalagyan mo ng design para siya stretch all the time para po ma-maintain yung quality ng stitches, hindi po gusot yung fabric. So that is the purpose of embroidery hoop. So I recommend on your embroidery article making to use embroidery hoop to produce quality embroidery article. Next is number 6, embroidery scissors. So it is a basic tool. It is small, sharp and pointed, good for fine work, used for trimming scallops, clipping threads, and cutting large eyelets. So madami po ang uses ng ating scissors in embroidery. Pwedeng pangkat ng thread, pwedeng pangbutas ng paglalagyan natin ng buttonhole. So there are a lot of things na hindi natin magagawa without embroidery scissors. During your activity, so please make sure na wala akong makikitang kinakagat ninyo yung thread kasi we have here embroidery scissors to do the job. Okay? So I hope that's clear, students. Next, number 7. It is a pin cushion. It is a place for pins and needles. So, simple as that. Diyan lang po natin itinutusok yung pins and needles to avoid po ng pagkawala nila or possibly din po na mag-cause ng accident. And nakakatulong din po ang pin cushion to avoid po ng rusting or pagkakaroon ng kalawang ng ating mga pins and needles since they are made of metal. Next on the list is the sewing box. So it is used to keep together embroidery tools and materials. Nakakatulong din po ito to keep your working area clean and organized, and at the same time, naiiwasan ang pagkawala ng ating mga embroidery tools and materials. So during your activity, you could provide a box na doon ilalagay yung inyong embroidery tools and materials para po siya ay hindi mawala. Next is number 9. So number 9 is bag. It is used to keep the work clean and fresh. And the bag po could be made of washable material na dun mailalagay yung iyong work or things kapag ka hindi mo siya ginagawa. For example, dito mo ilalagay sa loob niya yung ating sewing bags as well as the fabric or the other accessories na kailangan mo in terms of your embroidery work. So pagsasama-samahin mo siya sa bag. Watercolor brush. Ginagamit po ito when transferring design using pricking and pouncing methods. So on the latter part of our discussion or next week or sa mga susunod na week, we're going to discuss about the transferring methods. Number 11 is a measuring device. So kasamahan siya ng tape measure. Kung kanina po is for longer distances, ang kailangan natin sa tape measure. Kung short naman po yung distance ng measurement na kailangan natin, so you could use a gauge. So gauge is ganito lang po ang itsura. So maliliit lang po yan, kukunti lang yung distances na kanyang kayang i-cover. I hope everything about embroidery tools ay clear na po sa inyo, students. Now, we're going to proceed with embroidery materials. And those are the different supplies that are consumed in finishing a project. For example, a thread, pounds, and the other po na nauubos. Nauubos siya as we do the embroidery works. First one on the list, isa sa pinakamahalaga is the fabric, of course. Dito natin ginagawa yung embroidery design. Sometimes it is referred to as cloth or damit, and are great variety and they differ in material, weight, weave, design, color, and finish. So it's true naman po, just like on the sample, iba-iba ang kanyang itsura, ang texture, ang weight, and material kung saan siya gawa. So depende na lang po or pipili ka ng certain fabric na appropriate dun sa embroidery works na iyong gagawin. And here are some of the different sample of fabric that we use in the industry. First, we have here, so yung pinaka nasa top, yung kulay white, that is a common weave. It includes most tightly woven fabrics with a relatively smooth surfaces. And best suited po siya for articles with decorative stitches. And kasama po sa mga common weave natin is the linen, wool, and cotton. So yun yung ginagamit natin kapag nagagawa tayo ng mga designs na medyo intricate yung kanyang itsura. So we use common weave. And common din yan na texture and itsura ng ating mga damit na isinusuot. That is common weave. Next, number 2 is the even weave. Yung nasa gitna, yung different yung kulay niya. So that is number of threads per square inch is same for both warp and woof. So even po, kaya same po yung kanyang number of threads per square inch kasi even weave ang kanyang pangalan. Ginagamit po siya in producing high danger embroidery, second sample. Yun pong design na kailangan siya ipantay-pantay para maganda siyang tingnan. Usually, we could see this in curtains, tablecloths, and placemats. So those are some of the high danger embroidery. Next, we also have here the third one, which is I know common to you already, the basket weave, which is commonly used for beginners. This kind of cloth or fabric supplies guidelines for cross-stitch and smocking, having an evenly spaced pattern. So just like on the sample. So mas madali kung mag-stitch or magawa ng embroidery work sa kanya kasi even and sa count, naka-count natin. So nakagagawa natin even yung design, madali yung paggagawa ng design na ating gusto. Just like on the sample presented here. So here, those three are just some of the basic po na kind of fabric. Next, number 2 is the thread. So thread and fabric, lagi yung magkasama. And thread, so again, just like the fabric, they're also different. So there are a lot of variety of threads. So they differ in terms of textures, fiber content, number of strands, and colors. They can be bought in skeins, just like this, balls, or spools. And students, make sure the color of thread should suit the color and texture of the design and the fabric to be embroidered. So dapat po ay akma ang klase ng thread sa inyong fabric na gagamitin and dun sa inyong embroidery design. Number 3 is the tracing paper that is used for tracing design. So kakailanganin nyo po yan kapag tayo ay magkakaroon ng ating activity in tracing design. So nakapag-create ka na ng iyong magandang embroidery design, so para ma-actualize mo po siya, kailangan mong ma-trace na siya dun sa pinaka-fabric. And one thing that you could use is a tracing paper, just like on the sample presented on the slide. Next, number 4 is a pounce. A pounce is a fine powder used in transferring design by pricking method. So, pricking method is just like this. So, meron kang design na ginawa and siya po ay iyong bubutasin ng maliliit or pricking. Gagawin mo po yon. Then, after that, iyo pong itatap dyan sa ibabaw nung nabutas-butas mo ng area yung pinaka-pounce. And by that process, natatransfer po dun sa mga butas-butas na yan yung design na iyong ginawa. So that is the pounce. Nauubos po siya during the process since pounce is a material. And that would be the end of our discussion. Those are just some of the basic embroidery tools and materials. Hindi siya limited doon. Meron pang mga iba na hindi ko na isinama, pero yung pinakamahalaga ang in-include ko dito sa video discussion na ito. And for the big idea, please remember student that a quality embroidery work is best achieved if correct tools and materials are used. Again, makakagawa ka lamang ng magandang embroidery work kung gagamit ka ng tamang tools at materials. If everything is clear to you, students, you may proceed with your Zenyo task. That would be your enrichment and the evaluation. So please wait for the further instructions during our synchronous class, and please take a look on your Zenyo packages. Thank you so much for watching the video until this slide. So next week, student, if you're still watching the video, please keep in mind this idea. So please send a screenshot of this slide with the message saying copy ma'am via messenger as a PM. So kailangan pong magsasabi ng copy ma'am kung naintindihan ang mga bagay na kailangang i-prepare next week. So which includes first, embroidery needle, second, thread or panahi, any color. So just make sure it has a contrasting color with the fabric na inyong napili. Number 3 is a white fabric, 7 inches by 7 inches. Kung wala pong ganong white fabric, pwede pong old handkerchief or clothes. Just make sure na siya ay madaling gamitin sa paggagawa ng embroidery design na inyong napili or embroidery stitches. Number 4, scissors. 5, tape measure. Kung wala, I will allow ruler. 6, sewing box para po ilalagay mo doon lahat ng tools and materials. And you will need those embroidery supplies mentioned in accomplishing the task not only for next week but also sa mga susunod pang mga linggo. So again, if naintindihan ang instruction for this slide, please send the screenshot of this slide with a message saying copy ma'am via messenger as APM. Again, don't tell your classmates. Let them to watch the video until the end para malaman nila kung ano ang gagawin. It is one of my way to check kung pinapanood nyo ang aking video discussion. We are now at the end of this video discussion. Thank you so much for listening and watching this video. I really appreciate those who finished the video. Goodbye everyone. Keep safe and thank you.